The bans then as we do get into Champions League. Kale banned out here by Giants. Thresh and Zed then the final ban coming out of Giants. Kind of to be expected, especially that second and third ban. On the other side for Gambit, Kennen taken out against Jim Bones, Kassadin against Extermin. What will they finish off with?
My guess would be something maybe along the lines of Rise or maybe even Zyra. You could maybe target another jungler ban, maybe in the form of Xin Zhao or something along those lines. But Zyra is one of those picks that has been played by both Exa and by Babetta in both the mid and the bottom lane. They swapped them out, they traded a couple of times. This time around, it does look like they're going to take Shen out of the jungle, and that's actually for Morden. He's been playing a fair amount of Shen throughout the course of the league as well, so making sure that's gone. It does leave Elise open though, and it looks like the first pick for Giants, they're considering it.
Yeah, Elise has been a pick for Giants that we've seen from them fairly regularly here, and wouldn't surprise me to see it locked in. Actually will be locked in there. So what are Gambit going to go with here right from the start? Of course, Nasus and Volibear both available here for Diamond. Looks like he's going to be going with Nasus in there as well. Got that Ghost on there as well, which we've been seeing a lot from Nasus players.
Gambit now, of course, on the red side, so it's going to give them that last pick, that counter pick option that they have the ability to play with.
Yeah.
And the fact that they're seeing Elise on the other side, it doesn't tell you where Elise is going. That could be top, that could be jungle, possibly mid, maybe even support, as you know, there's certain people here in the room with us has actually been playing that Elise in that support role. But you know, it just means that Gambit aren't 100% sure what they're coming up against. Diana does look like it's been picked and selected for the time being, so that has in fact been locked in. That's going to be given to Alexish in the mid lane, and we've been seeing a lot of Diana play. Earlier in the week there was the Stars War League over from, you know, the Asias and whatnot, and Diana was such a hotly contested pick, played over and over and over. And the damage, the mobility, and the power that she offers team fights is just, it's insurmountable.
Well, let's see what Giants are going to complement this elite pick with then, with their second and third choices. May end up picking up an AD carry here, you know, for the sake of Jim Bones, who, now we've seen him playing, obviously, this Kennen that's banned. Ashe has been a kind of fallback champion for him as well. So, interested to see exactly where Giants go with their second and third picks from this.
There's a lot of difficult things here to consider as well, because we are playing on patch 3.04. So, this is the following one from last week. So, there's a couple of small changes in there. Singed, of course, his ultimate's been changed. Rumble's being hovered over, I'm not too sure. This is pre-ultimate change on Rumble, so keep that in mind. And, you know, just a number of different things that have been tweaked. Morden has been struggling to find a jungler that can help him in the jungle. He's been playing, you know, he's played Hecarim, he's played Shen, he's played Volibear, and none of them to really very strong levels of success. And it doesn't look like he's locked the jungler in yet, unless it's that Elise jungle.
Unless it's that Elise, indeed. I mean, with Rumble in there, we'd traditionally say in the top lane, but now things have been changing around recently, and I guess we can say that's one of the great things about League of Legends right now, that these picks can literally be going anywhere. Sona here, maybe a choice for Edward. Of course, we've seen him time and time again. He was, and still is, I should probably add, a fantastic Sona player.
Yeah, one of the strongest right now. Interesting pick for the Misfortune. She also has a very, very good win rate in the EU LCS. 17 victories to 5 losses. So it's a combo that works well. And if you just look at all of the abilities so far, if they get some CC in there in the forms of Zyra, who Morden was hovering over for a couple of seconds, that will help the rest of the team's abilities, you know, work and play well. Gambit, however, they've locked in Janna and Ashe, so we're going back to like a Season 1 bottom lane, where you would just see that Eye of the Storm on top of Ashe and just the auto attacks and the volleys. It's a lot of lane pressure to deal with, but of course no sustain. So if they do fall a little bit behind this most likely MF Zyra combo, it's going to be a little difficult for them.
And I think we've only seen Janna once so far, if my mind is correct on that one. I think we only saw him that once last week in Lille. So, you know, not high pick, not banned, and it was a loss. So I guess you could say a really rubbish win-loss ratio for Janna at this point after one game. Ashe obviously is a champion that Genja is familiar with. He actually got to 2,000 elo playing only Ashe. True story.
That's pretty impressive.
So if anyone knows how to play Ashe, probably is him.
The great thing about that is the initiation that it offers. Just that Enchanted Crystal Aura from Absolute Rage. Edward is sitting on Thresh, on Fizz. See what's happening. Sitting on Fizz right now, but that's not going to be locked in. I don't expect that to happen. And I think we are going to be seeing a jungle Elise right now. So the Giants roster has been wrapped up. They have decided who's going to be going in that mid lane. It will be Extra playing Twisted Fate. He has used Twisted Fate and he's used teleports on other AP mids before. So he likes to play the map. He likes to roam. He likes to set up ganks. And if he can get his, Rumble lane or his, Misfortune Zyra lane a bit of an advantage in those early moments, it's definitely going to play into their favor. But on the other side, Renekton has been locked in, and Darian, most probably one of the most famous Renekton players in EU at the moment. He used it to almost single-handedly win at IEM Katowice all the way back in January, and still an incredibly, incredibly powerful pick.
Yeah, and of course, Diamond playing that Nasus in the jungle is, I feel like we say this every single week, but, Diamond is the guy that brought Nasus jungle really out onto the scene. He was the one who brought Shyvana back into the scene back in the day, and that volley bear as well. So he's definitely comfortable on this Nasus. Diana for Alex Ich in the middle. He loves these assassin champions right now, and he's shown his statistics with the likes of Kha'Zix proved that they fit his play style absolutely brilliantly.
These teams taking any risks at the moment purely because of what is at stake. You don't want to throw a game away if you are on the side of Gambit. You can see, however, Giants, they go as a three-man here just to put a very early ward down and make sure they got as much information on Darian's jungle. Immediate reply from Alex Ich, though, because he knows the rest of Giants were in his jungle.
Yeah, really, I wouldn't call it passive start here, but a very standard start, getting up those ramps by the race from both teams, getting those early wards in position. Gambit also putting a ward down in the tri-bush at the bottom of the Giants side there, so they're trying to cover that blue buff from being invaded right from the start.
Definitely, that's also going to play into their favor for Morden if he, does to come down for some ganks. Now, I think that ward was just outside of Gambit's vision. The rest of Giants, they were stacked up and they have now decided to back off, but they were not aware of that vision placement, and I imagine they were waiting, just waiting for somebody to move across. The one thing that it does look like is happening right now, though, is we may see a lane swap here for Gambit. It looks as though they're going to put their AD carry support in the mid lane. Giants are doing something similar. They're probably going to send their AD carry and support top, and Alex is just going to go down to face off against the top laner of Samick. So everyone's going everywhere.
Bit of a mix and match at the start, and we say that, but Renekton's actually headed to this top side now. We're going to have the AD carry support in the mid lane after all. So Wraith's done from that one. Darian getting himself settled in. He's going to be up against Misfortune and Zyra. Interested to see how this, in the early stage of the game really impacts things.
So he does have that red pot, so it will give him, that 120 HP or so at level 1, level 2, if he does get caught out. The range on Zyra is definitely what's going to play into their favor. 575, it outranges almost every AD carry, lower down the tier, and he's going to be able to just continually land those auto attacks onto Renekton. And you can see in the middle lane, those volleys plus the Howling Gales, that's going to keep Exeter on the back foot. So this is now a war of attrition. How much can you deny your opponent, and how much can you successfully gain while under these, hampered circumstances?
See there, the Extermin being completely zoned out there, just getting out of range of Genja's volley. But like you said, it's going to be a tough time for them here in this one, especially for Extermin. We know Edward as one of the best zoners around. He's a very, very aggressive support player, sometimes a little bit too aggressive, you may say even. But certainly in this kind of lane matchup for them, that's exactly what they need.
Yeah, you need to be able to either push down the tower fast or, like we said, deny your opponent's CS. And you can see already a little bit of pressure come in the mid lane. It's a red card, not gold, though, and the cocoon mist, so nothing's going to come of that one.
Yeah, a lot of CS, so they can throw at Samix here in the bottom lane. He's going to get withered up, but is he going to be able to escape? One more hit. First blood coming in for Diamond. Took one hit from the turret, but just not getting away from it. And there we see the power of that wither, especially with the red buff on to keep the slow down.
Could not get away. There was nothing they could do in that particular circumstance, and scumbag Diamond Prox actually landing that last hit because Ignite was down. So Ignite would have ticked over, but he wanted to get the first blood and make sure he can really start to snowball on Nasus in the jungle.
Yeah, he's already keeping up with the Elise here in CS. We see Morden right now is by the Wraith. We'll see if he tries to make his presence felt on that middle lane. Obviously, Janna and Ashe really doing a good job there. If we compare the CS of the two AD carries, it's really even at this early stage of the game. There is Morden coming in. Let's see if he can get in there on towards Edward, and, well, in the end, can't quite make that one happen, and Gambit will be safe there. So, now they've got a nice 600 gold lead. Not a huge amount early on here, but still, that may just be enough to start tipping the balance as we go on.
Yeah, that's first blood, and of course the assist, that's going to make the difference. But something that's interesting to note about this play, Morden spent the last 2 minutes pretty much hovering around this mid lane area. He came in from the top side of the river, ran across the lane, showed his presence, gank didn't work, then went Wraiths, immediately after Wraiths came back into lane to show his presence. Gambit have done a lane swap, and Alex has been caught.
Yeah, Alex going into this top lane now, obviously with that assist in there, picked himself up the Doran's Ring and a ward. Did actually start off with the health and mana potions to kick things off. So we'll see if Diamondprox tries to get himself into this top lane now with the Nasus currently doing those golems at the top, as Alexic is going to get rooted up, but you can see there, you know, he's nice and healthy. He's got a little bit of AP as well coming out of that Doran's Ring, and that can make him dangerous already, especially if Nasus gets involved.
I think he bit off a little more than he could chew, though, because he did go aggressive. Now, Diamondprox is going to get found out by Morden. You know, good counter-ganking presence, knowing that the pressure was there. But you could definitely see that Alex was expecting to deal more damage and didn't really anticipate how much, you know, DPS he took in return. But what you can see is that Darian, he was feeling the pressure of that Zyra auto-attack range and the roots, and he was not 100% comfortable going up against the duo, so that is why they swapped. Diamondprox gets the wither onto Morden.
Yeah, Morden actually taking some damage, but in the top lane, Alex H actually going dangerously low. He will be forced to use his flash to get in behind of that turret range. Giants decide not to push any further forward than that, but they've done their job here. They've forced Diana out of the lane.
And Babetta used Ignite for that one as well. So they were hoping to go for the kill. Diamondprox is going to come up from behind, but I don't feel with, you know, Alex being that low on HP, they are going to go aggressive. He doesn't have any form of, you know, shield or healing ability outside of those pots which have all been used. So Alex playing with his life a little bit. One grasping root could cost him.
Yeah, and there is the grasping root actually coming out there. The shield just about avoiding all of that damage for him. That's one of the bonuses that he's got coming into this lane in this 2v1. But you're not going to be able to rely on that all the time, especially when Jim Bones goes back and gets himself more power. Exactly.
Now, the one thing that you do see in that particular engagement is something that we have to, that I've completely missed as well. 3 melee champions for Gambit. Renekton, Nasus, and Diana are all melee, while Renekton and Diana do have gap closers. If Babetta can land some good grasping roots or stranglethorns, it is going to completely control the tempo of a team fight. Lock them up, get the Rumble ulti down, and shred that HP to allow the battle to go up. But Darian's going aggressive on Samux.
Yeah, and actually we'll back away from that one. Didn't pop his ultimate there. Samux taking a decent chunk of damage, but Darian not wanting to really go too aggressive at this point. Actually, Elise is coming down into this bottom lane now, so this could be very dangerous times actually for Darian. Morden going to come around the side. Can he land the cocoon? Yes, he can. Darian in a lot of trouble now. Will actually use his flash to get back towards the tower. He's safe.
And Samux didn't use the equalizer. It was available, as was his ignite. The cocoon landed, and he didn't use the summoner spell. So I don't understand, you know, they landed the abilities, but they just maybe weren't 100% on the same page in terms of going for the kill. Nonetheless, Flash was burned, so if they rinse and repeat in the next couple of minutes, they'll be able to pick up that kill onto Darian's Renekton.
Morden just came towards that middle area as well. We said earlier on, he's been hanging around there a lot, to be honest, in this game so far. Well, let's have a look through the early CS in this one. Actually, let's skip that for now, because blue buff has been started here by Giants. We saw Alexic coming down from that top side of the ramp. Ashe and Janna both coming across here. Twisted Fate might actually take a little bit of damage there under his turret, as he will back away, but that blue buff actually will take a lot of damage. Diana's going to dive in on top of him. There's the Ignite running. Alexic picks up the kill.
Yeah, so well played from Gambit. They just knew that Twisted Fate was under pressure, snuck in from behind, picked up the kill, and this may actually result in the tower. Morden has secured his blue buff. The rest of Gambit have decided to back off and step away from the mid lane tower, but nevertheless, 2-0 right now. They're in a good position, Gambit. And they're just making plays, and if you look at it, that was just from the vision on Hawkshot. They had no wards in the Giants jungle. They simply used that Hawkshot from Ashe and went, we can do this. We can go for the blue. Actually, wait, Twisted Fate is available, so let's rather go for him. Giants, however, look like they want this top tower.
Yeah, making the most of a bad situation here, Giants. Taking the first turret of the game. Top lane is going to be theirs. Alex here is just doing the blue buff. Actually, there's a ward right on top of it as well, but don't think Twisted Fate will be able to get into a position there early enough to really do anything about that one, as Babetta just being a pain, stealing away that small golem there from Genja. As Alex did take that blue buff, he's going to be heading himself back home. So let's have a little bit of a look through the items here, as we see Gambit starting to move down towards Dragon. Ashe, BF Sword, plus the boots in with that Doran's Blade start. On the other side, Berserker Greaves Vamp Scepter picked up by Misfortune.
So Dragon completely uncontested. There's just not enough people from Giants to pick up. And in terms of the items, Seeker's Arm Guard picked up there for Samex's Rumble. So that's an interesting one as Gambit. They've caught out Giants. They're going to come in from behind.
They're going straight in on towards Exer. He's going to get pulled around. Here come the Stranglethorns, but I don't think Exer's going to survive this one. The bullet time really not doing any damage at this point of things. There's a flash in from Edward to get the slow down. The Ash Arrow just slithering past, and I think if he'd not been slowed there by Edward, he probably would have walked into that arrow.
I definitely think the same, because his strut would have been up and he would have walked face palming into that Ash Arrow. Nevertheless, he does get away safely. But the one thing was, Stranglethorns knocked up 3 members there of Gambit. The bullet time fully channeled across everybody, and it simply did nothing. There is a fair amount of HP in the hands of Renekton and Nasus there. You can see the Kindle Gem as well as that Giant Spelt and Ruby Crystal. So that's definitely going to help in that regard. But they're going to need gems to actually get a lot of power quickly to be able to shred down those high HP targets. Renekton did have his ultimate on, but Nasus, Darren, he didn't even turn that on. He didn't even pop his HP, get that boost that his ultimate gives him.
Yeah, feeling really safe with that one. And that just shows that he's fortunate at this point. I mean, with that build that he's got the Doran's Blade, the Vamp Scepter, Berserker Reefs, obviously he's not going to be ideal in terms of dealing the damage from that bullet time, but we'll see how that progresses going forward. In terms of CS between the two AD carries, 96 to 99, Genja actually has picked up the pickaxe here next of all, so he's really going straight in towards that full damage.
Yeah, and you've got to remember that he's also going to have the Eye of the Storm from Janna being thrown on there as well, which is going to give him a very, very big spike. It's currently rank 2, which is going to be plus 23 points of attack damage on top of the BF, on top of the pickaxe, etc. You can see that Alex is sniffing around this bottom lane now. He is going to find himself into a 2-man of Giants, and will Darian get caught?
Yeah, Darian is going to get caught, but Alex is coming in. They're going to dive in towards Samex, who will flash away. There's the equalizer. Twisted Fate's going to get involved, and actually Morden picks up the kill here onto Darian. Alex is still in vision, so they know which way he's gone there. But in the end, Janna did come down. Giants probably wisely deciding not to chase up with that one. They're putting pressure onto this top turret as well.
Well played there from Giants. They managed to not only get out of there with the kill, they didn't lose anybody at all. And I think that's primarily due to that equalizer. It completely set the tone. It controlled a large portion of that map, and it prevented the Gambit members sticking together and really pushing forward. Gambit do take that tower in the mid lane, so that evens it up 1-to-1, but they keep the pressure on while Giants go on the bottom lane.
Yeah, Giants are pushing this outer turret in the bottom lane, but Gambit are pushing the pressure onto the inner turret in the middle lane, and this is not a trade that Giants should be happy with, in my opinion. It looks like it will go down here, and that's a great move coming out of Gambit. They lost that 1 kill down in the bottom lane. Yes, they've lost the turret down there as well, but 2 middle turrets? It's a big pickup.
The entire jungle of Giants has now just been opened up wide. It's going to allow them to come and go as they please from the river entrances to get some deep wards down and just make sure they know when the buffs are going on. We've already seen, a concerted effort from Gambit saying we want to, get involved on your blue buff. We want to try and pick up some steals. And when we see this next buff spawning in the next sort of 2 minutes or so, I would not be surprised to see Gambit moving in with that hawk shot, moving in with some vision, and trying to challenge to pick that one up.
Yeah, we can't be too far away from that dragon coming back into play, actually, at this stage of things. Obviously, Gambit took that one earlier on completely for free, so we'll see once the time is coming exactly the
it'll be around 15:27, so still
about 2 minutes, 2.5 minutes for that one. Darren here just getting into the bush on this bottom side. Let's see if he can catch Samex out from this one. Does have that null magic mantle in there, which, whilst not offering a great deal of magic resist, of course, is still something against Samex, who does have that Seeker's Arm Guard in there with these Sorcerer's Shoes as well. And we can see that they're starting to close in on that position of Giants there on the wards, but from both teams going down. If they're not carefully, they probably could end up losing this bottom tower, especially now with Ashe coming in.
Yeah, Gambit, they're roaming around. Morden's been on point with those counter ganks because he's been in position to help, but 2 versus 4, it's not really going to work. The equalizer, just to try and get the minions down as best as possible. Questionable placement, because it was never going to get the melee creeps or the cannon creep, and that's really the one that tanks. But Exta, can he get away?
Oh, look Destiny's at that, chunk down completely. He's going to use Destiny to get away from that one.
And he did.
And he did manage to get himself away from it. In the meantime, by Misfortune taking the outer turret in that middle lane. Actually, Darian going to go in here towards Samex. There comes the arrow as well. Strangled Thorn's going to go down. That will knock 3 of them up. They're going to pick up 1 kill in there. It's Alex Ich that goes down. Darian is not safe here either. He will be forced to flash away. Can they chase in? Volley will slow them down to a crawl. Well, it looks like they're still coming in for this one here. Giants are not stopping just yet. Here we go. Flash over from Genja. He goes in towards Morden. He uses a cleanse, but that's enough. Edward falls to flash away as well, and he could well go down.
Now Misfortune's coming down. She got the inner turret. She's going to come in behind the members of Gambit. Going to try go toe-to-toe against Darian. While you can see Edward is recalling. Can Jims get the kill?
Well, Edward is also in a spot of bother here. Jimbones is still chasing on. Edward will go down. Darian's still running away. Here comes Diamond to try and save him from this one as they both turn around completely onto Jimbones. The Wither is down. Is he going to die from this one? He's trying to get away for the flash, but the Ignite will finish off.
So trading back and forth. At the end of that, Giants came ahead in terms of the kills. It was a 4-for-1 trade in terms of kill to death ratio. They did also pick up a turret advantage. They've got that inner turret down, and they managed to defend their bottom inner turret. So overall, it actually went in favor of Giants, even though the end of the fight makes you go, Gambit seemed okay with that. Nevertheless, a lot of map pressure exerted, and a few overstepping their bounds, I feel, from Gambit. They were diving the inner turret on that bottom lane at about 14 minutes, and they didn't really have a huge amount of tankability there to survive that sort of dive, which is why they came out 4-for-1.
Yeah, and of course it was a red buff in the end of Diamond that finished off that kill. Darian did have his Ignite running on him, but good old red buff manages to steal the day. And actually puts 3-0 now on Diamond, so really continuing a good trend here with this Nasus, as Dragon is now spawned. Gambit going to get in position.
Now this is something that I see. He's picked up those Boots of Swiftness just to make sure he can move around the map, stay in range to get those siphoning strikes down his Q onto everybody, and that's what you need when you've got a melee. They have started the Dragon, pulled it out of its pit, but they have not managed to pick it up just yet. So we'll see whether or not the members of Giants are going to pick a fight here. Equalizer is available, so is Strangled Thorns. Everything's available. But it doesn't look like they want to contest it, and instead they're just going to back away. So Dragon stays alive for the time being.
Yeah, I think Gambit were a little bit worried there that Giants would say, well, you take that Dragon, we're just going to push straight through that middle lane, take your inner turret away, as Diamond just dodging the grasping roots there coming out of the better. But both teams are still in that Dragon area. Are we going to see one of them start off? Diamond, the first one to go in. There is that ward there, which Gambit want to get cleared out, which they do get cleared out. Edward does get hit with a Stronghold Thorns, and, well, Extermin's Wildcard's not quite on point there.
His Wildcard's going a little wild, you might say, not managing to find their target. But the one thing that Giants are not doing very well at this moment in time is building survivability. They have a little bit of armor, a little bit of HP, but look at their jungle Elise. 3-0-1 on that Morden. He's got a Giant's belt in there. He's just picked up some HP, but a Haunting Guy is first. So there's not a lot of resistances. Gambit, they pulled the Dragon out. The dance has gone back and forth, and thanks to some vision of the champions in the mid lane means they should be able to pick this one up for free. What are Giants going to do to reply? It doesn't look like anything.
No, they're literally gonna do nothing about that one. They lost their vision inside thanks to that Oracle Elixir on Edward, which is really a strong play coming out of Gambit. That leaves them 2,400, let's call it 2,500 gold in the lead at this stage of the game. 5 foreign kills. They're behind in turrets though, so we'll see what Gambit actually decide to go for here next in terms of those global objectives. We can see that they're actually moving in to steal away the blue buff.
Exactly like we were saying, the fact that those towers are not there, it allows them to literally just walk in freely and say, you know, do want and pick up those buffs. They have instead decided to back off, and it looks like they want to put some pressure onto that top lane. As you can see, a fair stack of Gambit members. But one of the things that Giants have to find a way to deal with, or to remember when picking engagements, is the Enchanted Crystal Arrow from Ashe. One of the reasons they cannot engage on a team like Gambit when they're positioned well is that Ashe Arrow is just going to stop them in their tracks. They're going to wait for the Equalizer to come down, wait for that arrow to stun somebody up, and literally then just re-engage. And a free tower for Gambit.
And that was a great read coming out. I mean, this storm coming by the blue buff, but the Howling Gale just thrown straight down there will knock them all up as they come out from that tri-bush. So, where does that leave us then? almost 2,000 gold. It feels like just 30 seconds ago I was saying, in fact, it probably was just 30 seconds ago, I was saying that was 2,500. So they're clawing themselves slowly but surely into that lead. We've got 1,600 gold on Alex here to spend the next time that he goes back in towards base. See what he decides to come back out with from that one. Well, let's have a look at the items here between the two AD carries, because interesting setups between them there.
All right, I'm very excited to see Genja going Boots of Swiftness again. He did this on his Cogmore against Fnatic last weekend in Lille, and he's done it now again on Ashe. Combo the Boots of Swiftness with the passive from Janna, which is going to give everybody 3% increased move speed via Tailwind. This is a very, very fast-moving, kiting team from Gambit. Twisted Fate is coming into the bottom lane. Can they get the cocoon onto Darien? He just slice and dices away.
Oh, but we are going to see the flash come in. That's a great land from Morden, but have they got the damage to take down the Crocodile? The flash comes in. There we see the Repel coming down as well. There are the Stranglethorns. Darien's going to get knocked up, but it may be Diamond in the end that falls to this one. There is the Monsoon, short and sweet, actually, coming out from Edward, and now Darien's still being chased down here by Samox. He should be able to lock him up for this one. As the stun comes down, Darien tries to put as much damage as he can, but that will level up the kills at 5-5.
He survived for so long. Giants had to commit so many players and so many abilities onto him just to take down the Crocodile. And you have to imagine, if that was a full-on 5v5 fight with Nasus in there and Diana in there, they would have potentially been able to deal enough damage to kill the squishy champions of Elise, Twisted Fate, Misfortune, and Zyra quicker. Right now, though, Gambit, they've just backed away. They've lost a member or team member. Gonna just trying to clear these waves and give Alex the blue buff himself.
And we can see just from the difference, really, in those jungle items there, even in the top lane items, how much more tanky Gambit are going to be coming forward. The Locket there and Solara in there, some Fire Cape, plus a second Giant's Belt for Renekton. He's going up towards that Warmogs who've got an Aegis in there. Compare that over then with Giants who, you know, top lane and the jungler, both got Haunting Guys in there. Yeah, both got a Giant's Belt, but the tankiness is not there when you compare that to Gambit.
No, not as many completed items, but they do have one thing that's just turned into their favor. Alex and Gexter going in. Alex dives forward.
Yeah, Cocoon will miss here as well. That could end up costing Exterminity's life. He's going to pull the gold card out. Gets the stun down, but can he get in? Alex is going to actually miss out, and this could be the death of him here. He's getting away just about. Where is the last hit that they need? Misfortune comes in from the side. Jimbone's going to land one more, and Jimbones does manage to get the kill. Almost stole it with the Cocoon.
Exter, so well played there in that lane. Managed to get the gold card at the exact moment that he needed to. If he did not land that stun, he would have gone down. End of story. That would have cost him his life. So well played from Giants, giving themselves now the kill lead for the first time in the game. That's definitely going to help them out and put some more gold where it needs to be. It's the first kill of the matchup for Jimbones. He's got that Bloodthirster, and it looks as though he's working towards either a Phantom Dancer or a Static Ship. It'll be a Phantom Dancer.
So Gambit here are going to be pushing in towards that inner turret on the top lane, exterminating down the bottom. He does have Destiny available, should he need to change position from that. Obviously, he can't quite get from that where he is up to that top lane, but nonetheless, he's just going to be pushing straight on through with that one. Got that Lich Bane already in there as Jimbones has got sight of Darien thanks to that ward in the top brushes. We are seeing Genja actually completely caught out here. Equalizer came down. Samus going to go flying in, and there is the finisher onto Genja. And that is 7-5 now. Giants with the kill lead. And they're tied in turret, still a little bit behind in gold.
They're catching Gambit out, and Gambit haven't really, grouped up and pushed as a team all that often. They've been 3-mans and 4-mans going aggressive, but they haven't picked objectives. The rest of Giants, they're now forcing some objective down this middle lane, but they don't have Stranglethorns and some good gold cards at the Diamond procs, but not really too much there to set up any kills. And Genja, with Ghost even, he wasn't able to outrun the Flame Spitter of Samox. So that Summoner spell is down for the next time they pick an engagement. One thing that I am noticing as well here, Alex is sitting on the Distortion boot. So the Flash Diana is going to be very aggressive, going to be in your face often. Cooldown reduction is there, and it's something that we actually seen, I believe it was Toys doing in the Stars War League. He ran that Flash Ignite Diana, and it definitely just, it allows you to create so many opportunities because your Flash is available so more often.
Oh, right now, Diamond just walking in there. The cocoon not quite landing. The grasping root suffering the same fate of not quite grabbing hold of Diamond. That Dragon is now up, and I think Giants need to put down control for this one. I mean, they're 3,000 gold behind, or 2,000 gold behind, if I could read. If they manage to challenge for this, it could change things.
Now we'll see the crystal arrows available for Ash. So if Giants come in, expect this one to go down. We see them going aggressive. Darian's deep.
Dragon has been taken here by Gambit. Darian is going very low. Will be finished off here by Samox. Will Giants keep going from this one? Diamond going to get stunned up there, and he's walking as fast as he can, but it's not going to be fast enough. There is the Destiny use. Where's he going to come in? Oh, what a monsoon coming out of Edward there. And there's the arrow coming around from Genja. Alexic going to be sandwiched here between the entire team, though, and that will be a 3-for-1 for Giants.
3-for-1 engagement. Gambit did get the Dragon, so, you know, 2 additional kills in terms of Dragon. If Giants can make another objective off this, it's obviously going to play into their favor, but I cannot understand the thinking from Genja to save that crystal arrow for so long. Darian threw himself into 5 members of the Giants, and if that crystal arrow come down, it would have slowed everybody. What you can then do is you can stack Darian, who's level 14, so he's got his 2nd level in his ultimate, plus the Sunfire Cape, which is dealing about 110 to 120 magic damage per second for 15 seconds, in and amongst everybody. And if Nasus goes in there with his ultimate, the Fury of the Sands, which I think is on rank 2 now as well. Yes, it is. That's 4% of their HP every second. That's a lot of damage in a tightly, clustered group of Giants that have been slowed. But unfortunately decided to use it as a sniping tool at the end of the fight instead.
Well, he picked up the kill for it as well, so I guess we can give him the credit for that one. But the monsoon coming out of Edward as well, that could have been a lot worse for Gambit if that monsoon hadn't been so on point and if it had been used more in that fight there.
If we take a look, I believe Sunfire Cape may have actually stolen blue buff. So more than Sunfire?
To go top, but then Giants expected that as well. And they sent their lane top, and then they knew that, and then
we can go back. We can go into that when we get to the analysis steps.
I'm getting like hand gestures left and right here, but I think we go.
Only the good kind. Gang signs. I brought him in from LA.
Yeah.
Anyway, guys, let's send it back over to Quickshot and Joe Miller. Of course, we are into the game, as you can see.
Thanks a lot, guys, and sorry to Crepo for totally throwing him off his words in that one.
That was our fault.
But we are back then. The bug seems to be fixed after a few auto attacks from Baron Nashor, so that's all good right now. So let's get back into it and figure out exactly where we are. 2,400 gold, the difference here, Gambit in the lead, 10-16 kills to Giants, and tied on turrets.
Tied on turrets, map presence is still somewhat lacking from both of these teams because they've been moving back and forth, but exactly like Crepo said, Giants have managed to catch out members of Gambit. They've had a little bit of time to look at the positions, and it does mean they've started Baron. Baron's very, very low, and you see the rest of Gambit coming in.
Power play coming out here from Giants. Are they're gonna try and finish it off here? This could be very dangerous as we are gonna see them going. Giants do manage to pick up the Baron here, but what can they do afterwards? There is a bullet time and the equalizer coming out, but Gambit are still following through now with Darian moving in, and the 2 on the top side here, Jimbones and Extermin caught out. There's a Wither coming in on towards Jimbones. He's not going to be able to escape this one. Genja picks up the kill.
2-for-0 trade in terms of kills, but Giants managed to take Baron Nashor. So Twisted Fate and Rumble are going to be the key members to have that. Samox trying to get away to safety, and you see Darian wants to pick a fight. He flashes forward.
Flashes in for it here. I'm not sure that he's really got the damage to finish this one off. Janna trying to get in there from that backside, but this is going to be real close. As Samox turns around on towards Edward. Can he get the kill? Yes, he can. What a turnaround from Samox.
Well played there. Turns around, gets the Flame Spitter, the Electro Harpoon, and the Ignite down. That was enough to pick up the kill there onto Edward, but now Gambit have some position in terms of pushing the lanes. You can see they were trying to go aggressive at the mid, but there was no turret to take down. They'd already secured that one earlier. So it does mean they back away safely. So very, very good power play there from Giants. Decided to rush Baron, and it managed to work out for them. It managed to secure them on an objective, and albeit they did lose a couple of kills, but 3 of the members still having that regen and all the free stats that it gives you.
And I've talked about this before, that risky plays obviously can completely... If Gambit had picked that one up and then got a couple of kills, it would probably be GG at that stage of things. But if you take a risk like that, you can really, really bring yourself back into a game. And I think for a team like Giants against a team like Gambit, without risky plays, you're going to lose 9 out of 10 games. That's just how it is.
And this is something that Giants actually seldom do. They tend to make mistakes sometimes in plays, you know, over-positioning, overextending, and that's a little different to a risky play. This risk that, you know, they knew the positioning, you could see the members of Gambit on the map, and they said, let's rush it. We've got a lot of damage from 4 people on the team who deal, you know, percentage HP and, or, you know, Rumble, Elise, etc., with the Leandries and going. But nevertheless, getting a lot of damage down and picking it up. When they played against Evil Geniuses, Giants lost because they made no plays. They didn't go for the Dragons, they didn't go for the Barons, and it definitely looks like their playstyle has evolved somewhat to make those calls in the matchup.
Well, speaking of Dragons, Dragon has just spawned here, and with the Oracle on Babetta, they should be able to get good control. Twisted Fate going to use the Destiny here to get himself in towards that middle lane, so Giants going to be making a play on that one, and that's going to bring this gold difference right back close, as Gambit are going to come in here. Is that Dragon going to go down? Yes, it will. Taken out there by Giants from this one. There comes the Howling Gale to stop them chasing in afterwards, and that's the danger. If they manage to catch one man out, with a Baron buff on, I think 3 of them now left, they could still actually take him out. Yeah, they've got a lot of damage in, and that was exactly it. Gold card or a Grasping Roots. You know, you combo the 2 together, and then you put everything else on top of it. You put the Equalizer, the Wild Cards, allow Elise to just go to town, and you can really chunk somebody down. But they need to try and pick who they do jump onto, because at the moment it's a very, very beefy Renekton. He has that Warmogs, he has Sunfire Cape and the Negatron, plus a Kindle Gem in there as well, so we'll see what that Kindle Gem is going to develop into. They pretty much want to jump onto Diana or Ashe if possible, and then probably, you know, Janna as well, but obviously that's a support. If they can get Genja down in a fight, it will help, but they need to really, really figure out a way to deal with those percentage HP high tank targets right now. Yeah, and if we look down some of the other items there for Gambit, that Runic Bulwark is finished up. They've got the Locket of the Iron Solari in there, Zhonya's Hourglass for Alex Ich as well. So they've got plenty of tankiness in there to avoid that one. Zhonya's, by the way, is finished for Rumble in here as well. We're going to see 2 Crystal Scepters coming out by the looks of things later on into this one as well. So, you know, still a very wide open game that could still go either way. It's 1,100 gold, 31 minutes in, around about the 50k mark. It's really not that much gold separating these two. No, and this late in the game, that number is, you know, as much as insignificant, really, because it's not going to make a very big difference in terms of the items. One thing that I do want to point out is that Mikhail's Crucible has actually been picked up for Edward's Janna, so he's going to be using that item to remove a snare or a stun or a cocoon from most likely Genja, maybe even Darien or Diamond Procs if they go aggressive, you know, prevent themselves getting locked up in the lane. So I really like the pickup. I would like to see something like a Blade of the Ruined King coming out of Jim Bones right now, because he needs to get some percentage HP damage going. And with the amount of HP stacking that we see from Gambit, that's going to play. But Darien has caught Morden out. The Crocodiles jumped on the Spider. Yeah, and there we see Blue Buff actually being smited away, though, by Morden. He's done a good job to pull that one off. Oh, Giant's going to go in for anything here. They start to get a few wards down, which, you know, traditionally what we see when the inner and especially the, when the outer and especially the inner turrets go down in this middle lane, one team will usually make a play with wards and try and get control, get those catching people out in the jungle, but neither team's been able to do that really successfully up till this point. We can see that Giants do have 3 kind of in the wave there over towards that blue buff as they came over for middle, but honestly it might not be enough there for them. Extermin going to use that opportunity as we saw the Ash Arrow coming there, flashy to avoid that one from Jim Bones. So very good play from Jim Bones reacting. Exter has been left to his own devices to split push his Twisted Fate. Who would have guessed that's what he's doing? Destiny is available, but can Gambit get there in time? Well, there's that Ash Arrow not available. Actually, Extermin is going to pop his ulti here, and he is going to use Destiny to get himself completely away. Darien flashed over to try and get the stun onto him there, but didn't quite work out for them in the end, and that's another turret down. Good play out of Giants. Yeah, very, very good play indeed. The split push tactic is something that Fnatic have been using very well, but we're not going to get a chance to talk about because Samix is caught. Yeah, they're going in for it. Actually, Alex did get stunned up there to slow things down, but these Strangled Thorns won't actually really do too much damage. Diamond taking a lot, but the rest of Gambit starting to work their way now from this backside. The slow card comes out of Twisted Fate. Bullet time came across as well, and Giants successfully repelled the Gambit attack. They
have, but now they do not have positioning on this middle lane. The rest of Gambit are starting to push forward. The Crystal Arrow will be available relatively soon, 10 to 15 seconds, and if Gambit put some pressure onto this tower, they may be able to re-engage once that ultimate is up. You can see Edward trying to run a little bit of interference, but they're going to get this inhibitor turret. Can they get the inhib?
Samuk's starting to move in there. Howling Gale will come across, and they've done a good job there of holding on to that inhibitor with 2 men versus 5, to be honest with you. Gambit, you can see they didn't want to take any kind of risk from that situation, especially not with Baron coming up here in 5 seconds.
I think that must have been the call. You know, they had positioning on it. I believe if Baron was not there, they may have just gone in for the turret, but I think they want to maybe pick a fight here around Baron. Somebody had the timer and went, no, let's not throw, you know, a team away or a team fight away and then lose Baron as well. So, little cheeky turret kill. Darren eats a red card. And now Giants, they've positioned themselves for Baron Nashor. They've got a couple of wards around, but I think Edward has that Oracle's Elixir on. We'll see if he's going to be able to clear out some wards. Hawkshot gives vision, and it's going to be up to Gambit to create this opportunity. They do have the Crystal Arrow from Ashe if Genja decides to use it at the beginning of a fight this time round.
Well, let's see. Both teams with those Oracles clearing out. There's the Spiderling just rushing out and hitting Darien, which honestly, not massive amounts of damage at this stage with how tanky Darien is on that Renekton. But we are going to see that Baron dance here. And the question is, what do Gambit go for? We can see it looks like they're more looking to, you know, they've got them zoned out of this middle lane. They're going to start to push straight through there. There's a good Howling Gale coming out of Edward. Cool will land onto Darien, but decide not to go in. And that's it. The arrow is surely going to be big in starting something off here.
I definitely feel like this is the play that Gambit want to do. This is the Gambit that they want to use to secure themselves a team fight win. But they decided to back away. The Baron dance started and they said, no, we want to play a different dance. Tried to push down the middle lane. Giants responded quickly enough, and now all of a sudden, Giants have the superior positioning on this fight because Darien is way behind enemy lines and he's being forced to recall.
Yeah, he's going to recall from that one. We'll see how fast he actually gets himself back in towards this fight. Here's the hook shot. He's going to reel the tail end of that push from Giants coming in. Of course, there's a ward inside of the Baron pit, which will be spotted by Babetta as he goes through there. And again, Giants stop the Baron. Gambit start to move in position, and this could last quite a while the way it's going. Yeah,
it definitely looks like it because it is just this drawn-out battle. It's the objective that both teams want, but they're not willing to risk anything else. And the time being around, there's a very, very big wave of minions on the bottom lane there for Gambit, so that's going to be pushing in their favor towards Giant's side. And it looks like the top is going to even out as well. So in terms of the map presence, it's a little bit more in favor of the Gambit members as their waves are going to be pushing a little bit harder. What that means is if Gambit do decide to pull this out and drag it out, their minions will be beating on the Giants, members' towers before their own. So that will play into their favor. But that whole 2-minute standoff, back and forth, ends up resulting in absolutely nothing.
Nothing. Nada. Zip. So, what have you seen in items here? Because we've just seen a couple of decent pickups here for Giants. Samux did pick himself up that Riley's Crystal Scepter, so going to be adding even more slow potential in there for that one. We've got Last Whisper picked up by Misfortune, added into the Phantom Dancer, Black Cleaver, Bloodthirster. That's a scary Misfortune right now. And you know, that Last Whisper really going to counter a lot of what Gambit have been going for in terms of their armor stacks here.
Yeah, and that's definitely something that Jim Bones is making very apparent. He's more afraid of armor than he is of HP, which is why he's picked up that item. Now Genja throws out the Ash Arrow, misses completely. Twisted Fate's going to get vision. Can he get away?
Oh, that's a lot of damage coming out of
2 shots.
Genja, yeah, it was 2 shots coming into him there. And you might say, okay, arrows down from that one. Ghost was burnt, but that's opened up Gambit here. Their play on towards the Dragon. And that puts them back in the leading goal, 54.2 to 53.9. It's a tiny, tiny difference.
It's so small right now, and I was looking at some cooldowns. Crystal Arrow is around about 70 seconds at this point. Destiny is around about the same, 60 to 70. And it's only really that Ghost that Genja decided to burn that is going to hurt him a little bit if these engagements go on for any prolonged periods of time. You were talking about the double Rylai's Crystal Scepters both on Rumble and Elise, and we'll see if that zone control and that slow will come into play because they've started Baron Nashor. They have the vision advantage in the pit right now, but Gambit are really close and they pick the fight.
Darien going straight into the middle of them here. He's focused himself in on towards Xemin, but look at the damage coming out of Bullet Time. There's the equalizer coming down as well. Diamond gonna get stunned up here. Genja comes around the side, will cleanse off that stun. He's been chased down though by Jimbones. The focus is all over the place here from both teams as Alexic gonna use his Zhonya's, but is he gonna escape? He actually dives in towards Extermin, doesn't get more than one. Samek's now chasing into Edward. He's missed pretty much everything. Last second Zhonya's, and here comes Jimbones from the side, and he actually managed to survive it there, Samek. Just about in the end. Giants turn around and go back towards Baron. They got 4 kills for 1 there. 4
for 1. The Giants members stayed tight and knit together. They were grouped. They were able to focus down one target at a time and then managed to pick up the kills onto Gambit. They're going to secure this Baron. Oh, that was close.
That was a very manly scream coming out there as the Howling Gale came across.
You channeled your inner JCap lol for that one, Joe. But it was a close, near steal for Edward. He had a number of very good plays. The Monsoon managed to keep Alexic up alive for a good couple of seconds before he went down. Because of the healing that he got, it actually allowed Alex to pick up that one and only kill in that engagement. Then he managed to pull Rumble away, and Rumble almost went down to Genja's Ash. But the Scrap Shield was able to just block out that second auto attack and keep him alive at the end. But Giants are now the stronger team in this position. They have Baron on, I believe, every single member of their team, bars Zyra. They have map presence, they have map control, and for the first time in the game, the gold lead as well.
Yeah, gold lead coming out, and again, Giants rising to the occasion. They've beaten Gambit once before in this tournament, in this season, I should really say. Obviously, technically a tournament, but a bit more of a prolonged one, of course, the LCS, with each team playing 28 games. And considering that they're bottom of the table right now, if they're able to beat Gambit a second time, that's a really weird state of play to be in. To have beaten Gambit at least once now, it's looking good for them here. I don't want to jinx anything for them at this stage, but that would leave them in a comfortable position. We can see item pickups there. Guardian Angel for Genja. That could play a big role in the next fights.
It feels like we're watching a little bit of a Season 2 build here from Gambit. You know, that GA obviously going to bring him back to life, allow him to continue dealing auto attacks. To be very, very fair, he hasn't had a very big impact in these team fights. Yes, he's been around. He's always been on the fringes and the outskirts. He hasn't put as much damage down during the engagements. And I'm still questioning the ultimates out of Ash. They haven't been as impactful as I was expecting them to be. Giants now with Baron, they've got, like I said, the map presence, which means they've stacked up as 5 in this middle lane, and the siege is now on. The question is, do they have what it takes to get the towers?
Really interested to see about that, because if we look towards the early season, what we said about Giants, that they look very, very good. They've had a few problems closing out some of their games in the past, which, you know, if there are teams that you're going to find it hard to close out against, you'd definitely put Gambit up there in that list. But the question is, can Gambit really turn this one around? They are now on the back foot after, you know, 42 minutes into this game, let's say. They've had pretty much 90% of the game they were in the lead. They've not been able to make those plays and really snowball themselves forward to pick up the victory, and now they're the ones that have to select the fights very, very carefully. Otherwise, it could be all over. 42 minutes is a long spawn time.
The thing that plays into their favor for those fights that they have to pick is that they can do it with the likes of their Crystal Arrow. Wait for that to land, then let Darian and Diamond Prox dive in there. I feel like they're trying to make, or Darian's trying to make plays happen when his team isn't necessarily on the same page, because that was the second or the third big fight where he's just dived in there with Renekton, popped on that ultimate, and effectively just been blown up, like as soon as the fight has begun. He hasn't been able to run interference for Diana and for Ashe, which is what he needs to be doing in these fights. One thing that is very, very good for Gambit is the wave clear that they have from the Ashe volleys and from the Janna Howling Gales is so powerful. So they can sit behind the tower, use those long-range abilities and charge-up abilities to clear a creep wave, and pretty much let the Diana Q close up anything that might still stand there, which shows you Gambit, they can't, Giants can't get in range to hit the towers.
Yeah, they're not being so successful at getting in here, as we are going to see him come up towards his top side. Let's see if they can do anything more with the positioning that they've got from this one. I mean, they're putting down as much poke as they can, throwing in those grasping roots, the plants, the spiderlings as well. But honestly, that's not really that much damage whatsoever coming in on towards Gambit. And up until now, they're proving that they can defend these towers.
If anything, that 4-minute pause button that Baron, you know, puts on a team has effectively been put to bed by Gambit. They literally wasted out the entire duration of that Baron buff. I believe that Giants managed to pick up 1 or 2 towers in total. I think they got the top and the bottom one during that last Baron. So yes, it did pay out that they gave them some more map control and some more map presence, but there's no wards on the side of Giants. Look at the map there. There's very, very few Spanish wards in the Russians' jungle. And it just means all of that presence, all of that pressure has literally equated to nothing.
Yeah, and that's what really surprised me, that they've not done that earlier on, because things like that blue buff there being given over towards Alex Hitch, that's something that they can prevent at this stage of the game with that ward coverage. They could have caught it out. Yes, they've been pushing a lot, which has meant they've picked up a lot of gold in the process, gone back. There was an Oracle picked up by Zyra and by Elise as well. They've just taken down Dragon. Leandra's Torment picked up by both Rumble and Elise. They're kind of copying each other in their builds to a great extent here in this one. Void Staff added into the Rabadon's Deathcap, Lichbane, and Zhonya's for Twisted Fate. On the other side, you know, the AD carries. That's a full build Misfortune right now. Yeah, full build Misfortune, gone for the Scimitar, Mercurial Scimitar, just to get away from the stuns, the slows, you know, the different forms of crowd control that Gambit will be putting down. Giants are maybe position themselves for a fight as we look at the items, but you mentioned the Oracle's Elixir. There's one running on Babetta, and he's almost always had another one sitting in his back pocket. So the moment that pink eye is cured, he manages to drink another pot and start clearing the vision once again, denying any sort of vision from Gambit. So I really like that play from Babetta, but he's only got that Running Bulwark and some GP10s to play with, so there's not Alcy. He could be itemizing towards some ability power and making himself another threat for Gambit to deal with. Well, again, we see there that Giants just can't get close to these towers. They're trying to keep them pushed right up here in towards the base. Obviously, we've got less than a minute now to go until this next Baron spawn, so Gambit are probably going to be wanting to push those lanes out a little bit further, making sure that they're not completely pinned into their base, and Giants can just turn around and take that Baron straight out, because with the items that we've got here, that Baron won't last long when it does come back up into play. So Gambit need to be able to react to that straight off the bat. The one thing that will work for them or help them out is that Hawk Shot from Ashe. So once they feel like, okay, something is up, something is happening, Hawk Shot is only on a 1-minute cooldown. So when you get that sixth sense, that spider sense that something is going on, you can use that to get some vision and still be defensive, holding, you know, your side of the map. So I think that's probably what they're going to be waiting for. Exterminari is sneaking around this bottom lane. They're going to make a play for both the Baron and for this bottom lane inhib. And you can see Gambit, they're fully aware it is about to respawn, and they're moving out to set up an engagement here. So it is going to be a 5 versus 4 if Giants get caught up. Exter is still in that bottom lane. He hasn't shown himself to minions just yet. Oh, that was the last minion that he just killed. So he's going to be moving up. And you can see Gambit. What do we do? What do we do? They've sent Genja back. Yeah, they send Genja back here, but he's their massive, consistent damage output right now from this one. So we'll see what you can see. He's kind of split. Like, do I go? Do I stay? He's around that middle area. Again, he stops, and do I go back there? Do I try and get in towards the Baron side? Do I go and push that bottom lane out here? Giants obviously keeping on the pressure. And Genja again, you can see the position that he's taking right in the middle of them, as we are going to see the Twisted Fate ultimate popped here. Will they go in for the fight, or is it just a case of vision? Gambit have grouped up tightly. They've seen the Destiny coming down. We see Twisted Fate has joined the rest of Giants, so that's a 1-minute pause on that split pushing power. Gambit are going to realize they have some time to play with here, because even if they lose a team fight, it means that Twisted Fate cannot push the lanes. What they've decided to do instead is to counter push, I think, because Genja was moving towards their bottom lane, and Genja again decides, nope, I want to go back to middle. I think there's a lack of communication here from Gambit, because there's not one clear vision on how they want to deal with this process, or how they want to engage, or what the plan is, because they're sort of running all over the place. Well, I think it's not about communication even at this point. It's more of a case of really what is the answer to it, because if Genja pushes bottom out, they're going to take Baron. And if he doesn't, then they might lose his bottom lane. But the fight's broken out. Here we go. Stranglethorn's going down. Diamond going to get knocked up in the air. Will he be the first one to fall here? There comes a good Monsoon out. Alex Hitch dives into the middle. Zhonya's used there early by both Samux and Alex Hitch as the stun card comes down. That's 3 kills already here for Gambit. Look at the spawn time. 70 seconds there before Alex Hitch comes back into play. This could be GG. The rest of Giants, they've stacked up in the middle and they've lost nobody. Look at their HP bars. Nobody's even really hurt. Jim Bones is going to rejoin this party with a little bit of HP as well. And they've got a decent amount of HP and armor to tank this up. So they're going to take down this inhibitor turret. Then they're going to jump onto the inhib. They have enough time to actually finish this off. Yeah, they certainly do, but are they going to be ballsy enough to do it here? They've got to be scared still of Genja and what he can offer here with that Guardian Angel on as well. But if they land a stun card onto him, they can turn it around. Right now, the aim is take away as much of this base as we can as the Wither comes down there on towards Samux. Well, that inhibitor turret's going to fall. Inhibitor number 2 itself will go down, and they're trying their best here with Diamond, the big dog at the front here, trying to scare them away from that base. But here comes a flash. Stun card in towards Diamond. He's going to get rooted down as well. Can they get the finisher? He's very, very tanky, though, and he's still running for it. There is the finisher from Jimbones, but the turnaround from Genja. He goes in. His Guardian Angel is popped, but the Crocodile's headed in. Great cocoon landing in onto him. That's going to slow things down, but the slice and dice gets him right back in on top. There's a stun card out of Extermin, and they are still running here, and Giants are very, very low. This could be a dangerous position for them.
Definitely. They continue running away. Darian's slice and dice will be up relatively soon. I think he's waiting to get a tad closer, but the Electro Harpoon ×2 will slow him in his tracks. Destiny is now up front. Twisted Fate's going to let them know exactly where everybody is. He's just going to move further down the lane and get to safety. The giant Crocodile continues running down, but he doesn't manage to catch anybody else out. So 2 inhibitors down now for Gambit means this is now Giants' game to lose. They have map control, they have super minions that are going to be doing a lot of pressure for them. Once they pick up Baron in the next sort of minute or 2, I imagine they're going to try set themselves up for a final push.
But on the other hand, just to be to play devil's advocate in this one here a little bit, we saw the spawn times there after that fight. That was actually a really strong one from Giants, the way that they set things up, catching Gambit pretty much off guard with their positioning as well. If Gambit do it better this time around, I'm not sure that these team fights are 100% one-sided still. But let's have to see as well. Genja, though, obviously no Guardian Angel this time around. That could be another big thing. Baron is going down very, very quickly here. Giants are going to pick that one up. Nothing that Gambit can do about it. They now have a 10k gold lead.
Massive, massive gold lead right now, and you touched on something that's so important to talk about, is that GA from Genja. It was popped in that previous engagement. It is a 5-minute cooldown, of which there's around 3.5 minutes or so left before it's available again. And if a very big team fight breaks out, Genja's going to need that item to survive the burst damage that comes down from pretty much everybody right now. And it does look like Giants, they're going to allow the super minions to do the hard work for them of pushing the lane. They're just going to try and use that Baron in the regen to siege up on this top lane turret. The Flame Spitter's out, plus those wildcards clear the waves quickly. Look how fast Gambit can clear the waves. Are they going to jump in on this fight?
Yeah, Jimbo's actually hitting for around about 1,000 on the minions there. So if you give him a little bit of time to get going, he's going to absolutely rip into this Gambit side, as we are seeing the pressure coming onto that third and final inhib turret. That will go down, slice and dice away. Darian gets hit by the cocoon, but Giants decide not to follow up with that one. They've taken all 3 inhibitors now. Are they going to go in for the kill and try and finish this game off? There's the equalizer going straight down on towards those Nexus turrets. Genja trying to fight back as Edward gets caught out. There comes a bullet time, but not really the desired effect that Jimbones was going to be looking for in that one. Meantime, though, the super minions have managed to take down that first Nexus turret, and Gambit are hanging on by the thread in this one, and I'm not sure if they can hold in the long run.
No, double super minions now in every single wave. I keep talking about the wave clear of Gambit. Now it's going to be tested to the absolute max. I don't think we've actually seen a team come back from this far behind with only 1 Nexus turret standing to pick up a victory, but they've got Jimbones out!
They've managed to get in on towards Jimbones. Genja's going to die, but now Samuk's in all kinds of trouble. He will use his Zhonya's, allows his team to get in there. There go the Stranglethorns down, but right now it's a 2-for-1. Here come the rest of Gambit. They're focusing on towards Extermin, who will use his Zhonya's as well. It's a double kill for Alex. It's going to be 3 kills for Alex. Triple kill. They need to mop up what was left of those super minions in the base, but 70 seconds here for Extermin. The first man up will be Jimbones in 50 seconds, but better, he's going to try and run for his life here. He's got super minions following him into the jungle to try and help things out, as Edward has to back away. Diamond and Edward, though, between them will slowly but surely hammer away onto him. Come on, Diamond, finish this one off. He's got no mana left anyway, but he is chasing here. He's still going for this one. There's the slow, there's the grasping route, and the better is going to go down. There's the ace, a prolonged one, but an ace nonetheless from Gambit. And that's what I was talking about, Quick Shot, that if they end up getting caught out, if the call from Gambit is right, those team fights are definitely not safe for Giants.
This is the first team fight that Gambit have convincingly won in probably 30 minutes, though. And with having no base left to speak of, is it too little too late? Only time will tell, but as long as Babetta can keep running in interference like that little weed that Zyra really is, you just cannot kill the weeds once they get going. The inhibitor respawning in the middle lane is very important now for Gambit because those double super minions will stop on this next wave now that that's up. So if they can start getting their inhibs back, they do have, you know, the skin of their teeth chance, but it is a very, very, very fine line they're going to be dancing on.
Well, if Giants were reluctant to try and finish the game off before that fight, they're not going to get anywhere near the bases. If they play this one as angsty as I think they will do in the end, then we could still have another good 15-20 minutes of this game left as both teams make the play. But this is where Gambit, I think, really thrives. You know, they were down, looking like they were almost out of this game, but they win that fight, and I think that spurs something inside the Gambit team that really gives them that extra push.
Oh, that's so true. As soon as you get that, and that was such a convincing win as well. It's not like, okay, well, we almost did this. Like, we stomped that fight. It's gonna give them some you know, juju to work with in this fight, and the fact that Genji's got his Guardian Angel up, that's obviously gonna play into their favor. Giants, they're sensing some of the pressure. They realize the inhibs are up, meaning it's only gonna be super minions in that top lane. So they've grouped together. Babetta's now rejoined the party. He's moving back up with those Ionian Boots of Lucidity now completed, as well as another Oracle's Elixir. So if Gambit start to push out, that will be Drink, or Drank, and they'll immediately start clearing out those wards. But for the time being, Gambit have got better vision outside their base. And Giants, they've set up the push. They're going to jump in, but they don't manage to catch anybody but Diana with those grasping roots. So I don't expect them to engage off that.
You see that Darian says, I need more health right now, and well, I can't quite finish anything major, so I'll just pick up 2 Giants belts and stack them in there at the end, turn them into something later if the game goes on that long. But Gambit, you know, they have this inhibitor back here. They need to be holding on to that one. Obviously, the bottom inhibitor is back in there as well as Giants start to step a little bit forward, but you can see how cautious they are. They actually managed to get the cocoon there on towards Ash. The bullet time comes across. Alexic is going to use his Zhonya. Darian is in the middle of them, but he's going very, very low from this one. Exterminate will pick down Darian. Where is Twisted Fate going to come in? They don't want to risk anything here. The repel comes in. Genji going to have his Guardian Angel pop from this one. They surround him. They pop him as he comes back up. It's Babetta that gets the kill, and Giants take down the second Nexus turret. They're going to go for a fight here onto Alexic. They clean up kill number 3 there. Diamond and Edward, the last 2 men alive to save this one, but the Nexus is already down to half HP. That's going to be focused down here, and Giants are going to upset Gambit for a second time here this season in the European LCS.